The following podcast is taken from a live broadcast on Inspire FM.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
Good morning and assalamu alaikum. 10 o'clock on Monday, 18th of February, and this is the Urban Kube show with me, Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 12 o'clock on this mild but slightly rainy day this morning. I hope you're well. I hope the kiddies are well too. If you're tuning in, kids, are you listening in? Because you are on half term. It's half term, people. Gosh. I need to find out from you guys what you're getting up to, because I've got to kind of occupy my timetable. I'm actually quite lucky. I've got the week off with the blobs. I call my children the blobs. It's an endearment, people. What do you call your kids? Do you have like a really kind of a cute, lovable name that you describe your children as being, you know, when you're in a rush? Or do you just give them a number like I do when I'm kind of exhausted and I can't remember their names and whatnot? And it feels like that this morning. It is Monday and I'm babbling on, but not for too long, because I'm going to be having some awesome conversations with some fantastic guests in the studio and over the phone. We're going to be talking about their creative journeys and things that make them tick, basically. Today's show is a real interesting eclectic mix of topics where we're going to be discussing a poignant topic which I've been discussing for the last couple of weeks, really, knife crime. I've got actually a young poet who will be performing a piece that he will be actually sharing to a live audience on at Luton Sixth Form this morning, actually at 12 o'clock. And it's called 22 Seconds to Murder. This event is a platform to basically get the community involved, to experience art, poetry, and conversation around this area of knife crime, which has really impacted numbers and numbers of innocent lives. So I'll be speaking to this young poet very, very shortly. I'm really excited about that. I'm also going to be catching up with all the environmental news, and it seems quite relevant this morning because the weather's not looking peaky at all. So it was really, really nice a couple of days ago, and my goodness, on Friday it was really bright and the sky was so, I was just feeling in my element. I had a lovely walk down Warden Park, and everybody just seemed to be smiling. It just seemed contagious. Also catching up with everything mums and beyond, because I've got a very, very remarkable lady in the studio this morning. She's joining me after 4 years, and it's just brilliant to have her in the studio. But you know what? I've lost a bit of trail of thought there, because I was talking about the environment, getting so involved with that beautiful scene of the sun and the sky, and I forgot to mention the reason I'm talking about that is because I'm being joined by a young lady by the name of Zunaira Malik. She's an environmentalist, an eco warrior, that's what I call her. And she's going to be talking to me about an event that she was part of, which was a student-led climate change protest, and she's going to talk to me about that. And then in the studio with me, you can catch her on the camera because it is Facebook Live, people. It is no other than the very, very fantastic Rozina Butt. Now, Rozina Butt is a mother of not 1, 2, 3, 4, but 5 children. That makes me so happy when I hear that number. It really does. Mashallah, mashallah. She's a matrimonial lawyer for 20 years. She's a partner in her own firm, but Solicitors. And she's presently working in Denbigh High School in support for learning, mentoring young Pakistani and Bengali girls in high school and guiding them with their career choices. Assalamu alaikum, Rozina.
Assalamu.
Super awesome to have you back.
Thank you.
And I bet you're doing half term with the kids, as always.
Just enjoying half term, but obviously the weather is not very good. So it's typically raining the first day of half term, but I'm sure we might get some sun by Wednesday.
I hope so. I did hear from Brother Tariq, because I did get, can you give me the weather report, please? And he did say the weather will look a lot milder and brighter. But did you experience it on Friday?
Yeah, I was just so looking forward to half term. But
oh, yeah. Did you find yourself smiling a little bit more?
I think, yeah, because when you're working in a school, I think the last day, everybody's like, last day, let's get through this. But yeah, it was lovely. It was a sheer fact that it was sunny as well. So
gosh, my mood just lifted.
Yeah.
It really, really did. And I was just like, can the weather have so much impact
Definitely.
on our moods?
Yeah, I think it does. I think a bit of sun just makes you feel motivated to get out of bed.
Of course.
Rain, snow, it's not doing it for me. I'm not.
I mean, I'm liking a little bit of snow when it's white and crisp and not like 10 foot.
No.
And just a tiny little centimetre that you can glide through, walk safely through. And it just looks so picturesque. But I was super loving walking down Warden Park, and I just found everybody smiling. It was just quite infectious.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that we're talking about the weather because the present state of the environment is, and the weather and the impact it's having, this unpredictable nature of it is something that a lot of young people across the country were demonstrating against school children out in the streets. And as somebody who's actually very passionate about developing young people's mindset, did you catch up with this climate change event that was happening, and did any of the students of your school get involved, or were they aware of it?
Our school didn't get involved, but there was a little buzz going around in the staff room basically discussing this.
Right.
And it's good because it's refreshing, and you know that the students are sort of basically putting themselves out there. They're passionate about a subject which we all should be passionate about. But unfortunately, no, the school didn't get involved. But, you know, that wasn't just our school. Lots of schools didn't get involved.
Do you think they should have got involved?
To be honest with you, we weren't aware of it until it happened.
Right, okay.
So we basically, you know, got on with the school day. We were so busy anyway. It didn't really affect our state of mind, but we're very sort of...
Yeah, because I only heard about this later. I had a friend share it on their Instagram, and then I was like, oh my goodness, what's going on? This is so exciting. And the reason why it's exciting is it's actually young people taking the initiative.
Yeah, they are.
Taking responsibility of of something that we think young people are not bothered about, that they're not.
It is refreshing,
enough.
Definitely refreshing, because then at least you know that they're feeling passionate enough to stand up for something and sort of advocate their opinions on something that should be for everyone, really.
And this is what I was so quite excited to see. And we're going to be finding out from Zunaira a little later on about her experience, because she actually went to Bristol to participate in this event, to see, you know, who turned up and what the experience was like for her, because she's quite a unique young lady. In the sense that she's always been being slightly, you know, out of the box, passionate about things, and not generally young people are involved in.
Good.
And she's continued to do that. And her work, this is what her work's about, is encouraging more young people to get involved with issues that matter. Now, today's show is a celebration of all that and getting young people's voices out there. One young voice that I'm really excited to share on the show this morning is somebody who's really making his mark with words, and not just any ordinary words. These are words you know, through rap and through poetry. And he is just a young lad from a local school, Puttridge School, age of 15, and he's making quite a lot. He's gaining a lot of attention across social media through his rap around subjects that matter and are impacting young people. He's going to be performing live this afternoon at the 22 Seconds to Murder event, which is happening at Luton Sixth Form College. This event has been organised by Halima Ali. We've been talking about this event across a number of weeks. The event is raising awareness of the impact of knife crime, which, as we know clearly, is an issue that impacts everybody. And we've seen a number of lives lost, not just across the country, but also in our local town. And this is an issue that needs to be discussed more and more. And we need to get, you know, the older and the younger generation coming together to try and find the solution to this. Now, a lot of young people have come together to actually perform at this event. We're using art for social action at this event. Halima has got poets and artists and motivational speakers. Even the young lad whose life was lost, his mother is also going to be speaking there and presenting a piece of artwork that local school children, I think it was Denbigh school children, I need to get this correct, who'd produced this piece of artwork in memory of him. But there's one participant that I have great pleasure in inviting on the show this morning. He will be actually performing later on, so he needs to set up. So I'm really, really delighted that I have no other than Leo Samuda joining me this morning on the show to talk about this very, very poignant piece of poetry which he'll be performing. And he's a local rapper. He's only 15 years of age. He's very passionate about raising awareness and tackling larger issues through his love of music. And the purpose of his rap that he's doing is hopefully to help people realize that knife crime, what it is and how it affects themselves and others around them. So I'm super delighted to have Leo Samuda joining me this morning. Good morning, Leo.
Good morning, Shemiza. Are you okay?
I'm very well. Shemiza's very well this morning. And how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You know what? You've got a lot of energy and I'm really liking that. So hopefully this is going to be a really, powerful performance, I'm sure, at the event later on. How are you feeling about performing at Luton Sixth Form at 22 Seconds of Murder?
I am quite nervous, but at the same time, I'm quite excited because it allows me to put my message across and just let everyone realise and raise the awareness of the issue. Mm-hmm. And yes, I'm just quite excited to get this across.
Now, Halima Ali, the lady behind 22 Seconds of Murder, this event that's happening at Luton Sixth Forms, was in great praise of you because she had an opportunity to meet you through an event which looked at mental health and tackling social issues as well. So you're not shy to participating in areas of work like this, like art for social action. I mean, you're only 15 years of age. Where did the inspiration come from?
Well, I just saw there's a major rise in knife crime, mm-hmm. and I was just seeing all of these people around me, around my local area. Many of them have been stabbed and died, or all of this gang violence, and it's quite shocking. So I thought if I could raise awareness, mm-hmm. then we can continue to build this awareness, mm-hmm. and then people will actually realise what it's doing to them, mm-hmm. other people, and obviously the lost lives. So.
Wow.
Then, yeah.
And so why rap? Why did you want to educate people and inspire them for social change through rap music?
Well, when it's in the form of a rap, you can make it catchy, mm-hmm. and it sounds really good. So people will remember it and they will actually feel it. Mm-hmm. But if you were just talking at them for a few minutes, it's less likely to sink into their head, and then they won't really realise as much.
Now, as a young person, is this the language that you feel young people relate most to?
Yeah, most people they listen to the rap, but some of this rap now that is influencing this violence is quite different, different terms of slang, and it's quite shocking. So if I use rap in a good way, mm-hmm. with positive language, I believe that can make an effect to these young people and realise, there's not only just a bad side to rap, but there's also a good side.
And it's really interesting that you raised that point, because that was going to be my next question, is how do you, rap music has had some negative connotations with it, and you clearly have kind of explained that with clarity, the fact that there's good rap and there's bad rap, and it's words, isn't it? It's how you manipulate and how you mold those words. How long have you been doing rap for and writing poetry?
Well, when I was rapping when I was younger, I had an incident where I was getting bullied, so I decided to write a song, and I felt that I was quite good at it, so I published that on YouTube. And ever since then, I've just been making music, and I've just loved it. And I started a bit of DJing as well. And I just think it's a good way of getting a message across. And you can do anything with music.
And you know what? That message is getting bigger and bolder, and you're reaching out to not just your generation but the older generation as well, because you're going to be performing this particular piece, Blade, which you're kindly going to perform on the show this morning over the phone, and then you're going to be performing live at Luton Sixth Form. Is this going to be one of the bigger events that you're performing at, or have you performed at other events as well?
I haven't really performed at too many, but I have had one or two talent shows in school when I did perform, and one other time, there was my own song, and then one other time I had to rap another song, even though it wasn't mine, but I had to do it in front of the whole school, just to show that I'm there and stuff.
And I love the fact that you say, to show that you're there. You are clearly there, Leo. You're doing extraordinarily well in embracing your artistic creativity and engaging those audiences, which is absolutely wonderful. Now, you're on half term, Leo. What are your plans for half term?
Well, write a few songs, and as I'm here in year 11, do quite a lot of studying because I've got my next mock's coming up soon.
Oh, goodness me, wow. Yes, so how are you getting your head down to study? And I want to ask you a question. You know, there's something MPs are kind of debating on whether to get young people to start school, or school kids to start school a little bit later, like 10 o'clock. How do you feel about that? Do you think that's a good idea? Would you like to start school at 10?
I'm not too sure about that, because I'm that kind of person. I'll wake up a bit earlier.
Okay.
So I'd rather have an earlier school and get done earlier, rather than it starting later and it get done later. So then I have more time in the afternoon to relax, because the afternoon is more the relaxing time and not the morning. So, because in the morning I do a bit of work as well, but I'd rather start like normal time, or maybe normal time instead of later. So then I've got my own little time in the afternoon, and like not having to wait around for too long in the morning.
That sounds like a very, very sensible answer. Are you really 15 years old, Leo?
Yeah.
I mean, we have Rozina Butt in the studio, and Rozina is a solicitor. She's a partner in her own firm, and she's also very passionate about working with young people and actually mentoring them to find, positive career aspirations. Rozina, you're listening into Leo.
I'm just totally blown away about his motivation, the way he is, the way he's portrayed himself as a young role model, really.
Thank you.
You're doing really well, and we need more young men like yourself who will motivate others to do, take part in the community, put the message out there, and you're doing so well. I'd love you to come to our school actually and do a little piece there.
Fantastic. We will connect.
Yeah, definitely. We'll do something, hopefully. Yeah. Well done.
That's brilliant. And so folks, if you've just tuned in, you are listening to the Urban Kube with me, Shemiza, taking it all the way up to 12 o'clock this morning. And the time is 10:17. And this morning I'm joined by another wealth of guests, and we are discussing some very poignant topics which we'll be reflecting through creativity. And then on the line right now, I'm joined by a very tremendous young man, only the age of 15 years of age. He is a local rapper who's really making his mark with the mechanic of words. It's a new way. I like that. Mechanic of words.
Sounds
good. Do you like that?
Yeah.
Leo, do you like the sound of that? Mechanics of words. I learned that from another artist by the name of Naz Knight. That's what she calls herself. And using your passion for words, you're reaching out to not just a younger generation, but an older generation, and highlighting the impact that knife crime is having on our lives as not just young people, but as parents as well, because it does impact parents, it impacts everybody.
Everyone, yeah.
So Leo will be performing at 22 Seconds of Murder, an event that has been organised by Halima Ali at Luton Sixth Form College. It is a platform for artists and creatives to come together, and local community activists to kind of really come together and understand what is the cause of knife crime and what could be how we can sort of eliminate it and just raise awareness of that. Leo, this is quite a very, very big topic, and you are only it's a very powerful, overwhelming area, and you're only 15 years of age. I mean, when you were putting pen to paper, what was the experience like putting your words together to write about knife crime?
Well, I just saw that there was many people my age that are getting into these gangs and all the violence and stuff. I just thought, if I use someone young like me, I could target young people that are like me. around my age. And if I do that, then I'd be able to tackle it.
Wow.
And just get rid of it, maybe. If it ended up getting that big. But for now, I was just thinking small, and just get people around me to just be not involved in any of that stuff, and not involved in any violence.
What do you think is the reason why young people are drawn to this type of violence? Do you think the communities are not, or the government isn't doing enough to provide opportunities for young people to get involved with?
Definitely, because young people, they need more opportunities, because if they're out on the street, they're bored, they're looking for something to do, and then they'll like misbehave or something. But then also, I think it may have something to do with bullying as well, because if someone's bullied in school,
right,
they feel like weak. But if they join a gang or something, they feel powerful. And then them with that gang, they'll end up going on to do something bad to other people.
Right.
So I think it's like a sense of family or a sense of power that they need within them.
If you could say something to listeners right now, or anybody who's been impacted by bullying, knife crime, or just change makers, what change do you think should be brought about?
Just to like maybe have more police on the roads so people know that they're safe. Make sure, put in like a major law if you carry around knives, a very serious consequence, because it's mainly the people that carry knives who actually, they're not intending to use them, but they're the ones that actually get involved.
Right.
Even though they carry a knife just for their safety, they just feel involved. So just I'll just advise just to stay away from all of that stuff, and just like be yourself and focus on school and stuff.
Yeah. What do you want to do after school, Leo?
I want to go to sixth form and then to university. So that can be like my educational side, and also try and get somewhere with all my rapping and promote all my messages within my raps.
Fantastic.
And hopefully within the years I'll get a bit bigger.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. I think in whatever area you're going to go into, Leo, I think you're just as Rozina has said, you're going to do well. You've got that mindset, and it starts from that. Career aspirations? What's your interest in career?
Well, I wanted to do biology at university.
Okay.
At a really good university and like high level.
Wonderful.
But I'll see, because before I wanted to do law in university, but I've changed my mind to biology because it's like really interesting, and maybe even psychology, like how the brain works, or just how the body works in general.
That sounds really inspiring, and I wish you all the best, and I can really see a great career. Now, folks, if you've just tuned in, you're listening to me, Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 12 o'clock on the Urban Kube show. The time is 10:22, and I'm speaking to my first guest this morning. It is a local rapper, aged 15 years old, and he is Leo Samuda, and he's going to be performing a piece called Blade across the airwaves this morning as part of his appearance at 22 Seconds to Murder, which is happening at Luton Sixth Form this morning. So, Leo, take the mic.
Okay. Right, ready?
Yes, go ahead.
Right. I beg we say no to the knives. I beg we say no to the knives. I beg we say no to the knives. Say no to the knives, and yes, to save lives. I beg we say no to the knives. I beg we say no to the knives. I beg we say no to the knives. Say no to the knives, and yes, to save lives. Why we got to rest in peace? Why can't we live in it? The way these people rolling with knives and they're giving it. Why we have to use knives, kids' parents, find a place for a grave and start digging it. It's unfortunate, but I don't mean it's not infinitive. 7 billion on earth, one life is still limited. Verse is still pending, don't worry, I'm gonna finish it. We got no time for the wrong timing. I'm moving like knives, everybody's been shining. I'm moving like a trouble, that's the way I'm really grinding. But all these people out here prepared to start kniving. It's really no good, so I need to start thriving. Honestly, unaware of what's driving. I don't know why it's stubborn and I don't know why it's lasting. Please stop the fasting and fighting. I beg we say no to the knives. I beg we say no to the knives. I beg we say no to the knives. Say no to the knives, and yes, to save lives. I beg we say no to the knives. I beg we say no to the knives. I beg we say no to the knives. Say no to the knives, and yes, to save lives. Man, them getting killed over a violation. Man, just leave it. Just take the L, because you're going to kill a guy over something minor, and you're going to spend the rest of your life in jail. You kill a person over a postcode. After that, you can't even live on the postcode. Leave your youth bleeding out in the road just because you're trying to prove that you're on road. Beef ain't stopping until somebody drop it. It's unfair, family and parents be sobbing. Now you got people hurting and suffering. People try to dismiss the crime, but it's me, you ain't muffling. People here, there, everywhere, dropping like flies. Just because you want to prove something to you guys. It shocks everyone. You don't know the emotion. Put the knife away, no need for the emotion. I beg you, say no to the knives. I beg you, say no to the knives. I beg you, say no to the knives. Say no to the knives, and yes, to save lives. I beg you, say no to the knives. I beg we say no to the knives. I beg we say no to the knives, say no to the knives, and yes to save lives. Yes, I beat you for chatting, what's on your name isn't worth it. 1 minute your life is going perfect. Next thing you know, you do something that destroys your future, you feel bad straight away, it was brutal. How do you think their family feels? Man, it serves way too many chills, and I swear it messes up everyone's head. Got people wondering if they're dead or they're dead. Whether we're black or whether we're white, we need to be coming together to unite. Whether you're from the 4th or 5th side, I don't want to hear no news about a young kid died, then you aren't even 16, they haven't seen the light. Don't play with knives because you're playing with life. No slicing, guys, no porking spies. If we all had real eyes, we would all realise. I beg we say no to the knives. I beg we say no to the knives. I beg we say no to the knives, and yes to save lives. I beg we say no to the knives. I beg we say no to the knives. I beg we say no to the knives, and yes to save lives. People starting beef on Instagram Live. You might get cost, but 2 wrongs will make a right. An argument between 2 people with the violence. I don't want to always have to see a Russian ambulance, and I don't want to hear nothing about a gun. Instead of chasing down people, why not chase money? Blood, sweat, tears, and eternal rain. People crying in grief and pain.
Wow, Leo, that was absolutely tremendous. I want to say thank you so very much. That really was
Amazing.
quite hard hitting.
Yeah.
We are heading off to a break, Leo. I want to say congratulations with everything you're doing, and you will be performing live at the 22 Seconds to Murder event happening today at Luton Sixth Form. Thank you so very much, Leo. That was absolutely tremendous. That was Leo, and we're heading off to a break, and we're going to be coming back and talking about this with Rozina, who's still in the studio. So catch me straight after this.
This is Inspire FM, with you 24 hours a day. Inspire. Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to you. Thank you for staying with me on the Urban Kube show, brought to you on Inspire FM. We're going live and direct from our lovely studios in Luton, and we're reaching out to surrounding areas as well as Peterborough and Sheffield this morning on Salam Radio and Link FM as well. I want to say a massive big salams to all the parents who are with the children throughout half term. I know it's this testing time, guys. You can get through it. I promise you. We've been doing it well, and we've been doing it for many a year. So we're getting better and better at this. So on today's show, what I'd like to do is to find out from you guys is what you've got planned. Is there anything that you've got planned today or across the week, across Luton, that you could kind of share with us? Because, you know, it does get a little bit tricky, especially in this type of weather, which is... it just doesn't make sense. It was sunny on Friday and now it's raining again across Luton. I don't know what the weather is like around your areas, guys. Do tell us. And I would love to find out what you're up to this morning. Now, on today's show, we are talking about Art for Social Action, as always. I had the pleasure, just before the break, speaking to a very remarkable young man, Leo Samuda, who's known as Leo Young Lion, and he performed a rap piece called Blade. This was in light of the increasing levels of knife crime, not just across the country, but also in the heart of our own communities in Luton. And we have had the unfortunate experience of hearing and reading about the very, very young lives that have been lost through this horrendous crime. And Leo is a young man who's taken upon himself to actually try and raise awareness through his own across his own generation and the wider generation, the older generation as well, through rap music. And we heard his piece just before the break. Now, if you missed it, you can actually catch it on Facebook Live, because we are Facebook Live, and also you can hear it on the repeat of the show. And we also have a podcast. Yes, people, we have a podcast that we will be uploading after the show as well. In the studio with me is Rozina Butt. She's joined me after 4 years, people. She's back in the studio, mashallah. So it's an absolute pleasure having Rozina back. Now, Rozina is a matrimonial lawyer of around 20 years. She's also a partner in her own solicitors firm. She's a mother of 5. Oh, take great pleasure in saying that. This is a lady that is like, you know, balancing it all. She is superwoman, and she's presently working in Denbigh High School in support for learning, mentoring young Pakistani and Bangladeshi girls, and guiding them with their career choices. Rozina, assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for joining me.
Walaikum salam.
Such a pleasure to have you in the studio once again. And what I wanted to ask you was, you were in the studio, you had a chance to kind of listen into Leo's rap, Blade, and we got a chance to listen to it. I didn't know what I was expecting. I was quite overwhelmed by the intensity of the lyrics and the power. I mean, he's definitely one great word mechanic.
Definitely.
There was passion and conviction and a real sincerity in his words. I mean, as a mother, as a professional, as a community activist as well.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on this?
Just inspiring. At such a young age, he's so articulate. And the fact that he was trying to get his message across, he's taken that responsibility on himself. There's a great deal of people who wouldn't even think of trying to write one verse, let alone how many he did. Very passionate, very observant of what he, wants to get out there. And obviously it's refreshing as a parent as well. We have between us 11 children. And, they're all at that age. There's a couple of teenagers there, and we will worry about them going out or coming back on an evening from school when, it is dark and you don't know what's around the corner. Thankfully, our children are in a position where they're quite sensible, but it doesn't matter. They could just get caught up in something that totally innocent.
Yeah.
And that, as a parent, we've got to really worry about that. And as Lutonians, we need to really put the message out there for parents and community leaders to see what they can do, work with their children, educate their children, give them a little bit of insight as to why these things happen, and don't just tell them not to get involved in it, tell them why and what the consequences are.
Yes.
Because I don't think anybody realises the consequences. Just carrying a weapon, even if it is for self-protection and self-defence, you can get in a lot of trouble. Right. And, if you're stopped and searched and you're found with a bladed article, it can lead to dire consequences, and young people don't realise that it'll be on their record for the rest of their lives.
Oh, wow.
I'm not a criminal lawyer, but, the consequences of having a bladed article or being in such a position that you're found with one, whether you intend to use it or not, will have dire consequences on your future. And I don't think young adults know about that. And it can affect their applications to colleges, their applications to university. So, a moment of madness can just cause too much consequences. You've got education
even
here.
Though they're carrying that knife because they're frightened. And
he was saying about bullying, we don't realise it's not just knives, it can be other articles that they're carrying, but just the intention of using that. And then, unfortunately, if they do use that, the consequences of it, this is shocking.
It was very inspiring listening to
Indeed,
Leo. The reason being is we're hearing all this bad press about young people, that they have no passion, that they're like social media, that's all they're interested in.
Social media addicts,
that they have no aspirations, that they have no empathy. But last week we saw the whole image of young people completely changed and turn around, and this was because there was a national gathering of young people, students really, who are part of a student-led youth strike for climate, and this happened across London, the north and the south. And it was just remarkable to see the number of young people that were engaged in this. However, schools were not happy because some of these absences were unauthorised, but it showed that there was passion and empathy for an issue like climate change, which is having a massive big impact on our lives.
Of course.
Now, my next guest on the show is a regular voice. I call her an eco-princess extraordinaire. And the reason why I do that is because she is somebody who has such passion for environmental issues and has continued to do so and hasn't stopped. So I'm really, really excited to invite this morning, while she's at work, Zunaira Malik. Now, Zunaira is the program coordinator for Action for Conservation, not conversation. Do you know what? Help me, Rozina.
It's a mouthful. Conservation.
Thank you, love. I need to have those moments. A charity dedicated to bringing nature into the lives of all young people and empowering them to take action on key environmental issues. She works closely with young people across the UK. And she's also somebody who I really admire. And she actually, believe it or not, participated in the student-led youth strike for climate in Bristol, where a number of students walked out of school and called for politicians to declare a national climate emergency and take action. Assalamu alaikum, Zunaira.
Walaikum assalam. It was really amusing to hear you introduce me.
How are you this morning?
I am great. How are you?
I'm very, very well. Have you got your wellies on?
I'm in the office today.
But you can still wear your wellies, can't you?
Yeah.
This is the image I have of Zunaira. Everywhere she goes, she's like, got her eco Mac on and her wellies. But no, there's more to being an environmentalist than Wellington boots. Now,
Exactly.
this morning we were talking about young people, and we had the pleasure of speaking to Leo, who is a young person trying to create that change through rap music and raising awareness. And it was so refreshing to see a young person taking that initiative. And once again, last week, we see another group of young people across the town, not the town, but across the country, doing the same thing, fighting for what they believe in is right, and that's climate change. Zunaira, you were participating at the Bristol student-led march. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, so we actually had a workshop booked in on Friday, last Friday, when the march, the strike took place. So I work with young people across the UK in secondary schools and on camps and things to sort of talk about environmental issues and empower them to take action on things that they're passionate about. So actually we had some workshops booked in on Friday, but we actually found out that some of the students we were working with were planning to strike. So what
Love it. I shouldn't say that, should I? I'm like, that is just so cool.
I mean, yeah, it's really cool. And actually, so what we did is we decided to attend to observe, what young people have decided to do and to kind of see the atmosphere and the vibe and see the young people taking action in a way that they want to take action, which was really, really inspiring. So yeah, we were in Bristol, but these strikes were taking place across the country, and I think there was around 10,000 students across the country that took part. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So really, really interesting. And these are all student-led strikes. So these are strikes that students have planned themselves, students from primary schools, secondary schools, college, university, and they've all come out.
Even the little ones, primary school.
Yeah,
that is so cute. Do you think they ever thought they were having a day off, Zunaira, or did they actually know why they were out there? Because they thought, it's a day off school and we could do a lot of screaming and shouting. That's what young people like, right?
You would think that, but actually, attending the march, attending the strike, it was really interesting to see how clued up and educated young people were on the issues of climate change. So their placards had things like scientific facts on them, and they had sort of real political messages, that they were trying to send out. And from speaking to them and seeing what they were what they were calling for, it showed a real knowledge behind the strike. So I don't think it was just something, we're going out to miss school. It was actually a real change that they were demanding.
So where did this change? Sorry, I cut you out there. What has sparked this? Because climate change, the issue of climate change it seems to be coming to the fore now. We're seeing a lot more policy change happening in the way we are recycling, the banning of plastic and straws, so forth, and is now coming is being made more apparent. But there is also this thing about MPs still need to stamp down on it a little bit more. But the young... Yeah.
Sorry, I'll let you carry on.
No, so the question I have is, what's happened? I mean, this has always existed, but why now?
I think with sort of young people learning about these issues in school, and actually a lot of young people being interested in the politics, we're learning that young people are demanding for more for bigger change, for politicians to stand up and actually take action on these issues. And there was a strong focus on young people saying that, look, there's not enough time. There was a recent UN report actually saying that we have 12 years to cut our global emissions by half, to avoid climate catastrophe. And there was a message, this was evident in what young people were calling for. They were saying we've got 12 years and we're not doing enough. We decide, we've said we will, but actually every year our emissions are increasing. So, this is our future, and you have a responsibility to do something.
Wow.
Strong focus on that, and actually them being aware about these climate reports shows the dedication that they have and the real worry they have for their future.
Now, this was 10,000 students that striked at this event. Now, can you just differentiate a strike and a march? They were marching, but it was also a strike. So what's, for listeners who aren't familiar of what the difference is between the two? Yeah,
so it was actually a planned strike, not a march as such. I think some areas may have ended up marching, but the plan was to, not go into school that day, to make a stand for their future. So young people were saying, what is the point of going to school and learning when we might not even have a future? And there was that sort of urgency. And it's quite powerful actually for them to say, look, we care about our future, but what's the point of going to school if, no one's doing anything about protecting our future? So, it's really inspiring to see young people actually take a stand. And we saw a lot of politicians come out and support the strike too, which was great, to show for them, saying that, this is really inspiring to see young people take control and take action for their future in the way that they are.
Wow. Folks, if you've just caught the show, it's 10:45, Monday, 18th of February, and you're listening to me, Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 12 o'clock on the Urban Kube show, brought to you on Inspire FM. This morning, I'm joined by a wealth of guests, including Zunaira Malik. Now, Zunaira Malik is a local lady who is really making her mark in the world of climate change and environmental issues. Now, Zunaira is speaking to me exclusively about her experience of attending a youth strike for climate, which was a youth strike that happened across the country, and with a number of, 10,000 young people, primary school age to, I think, college age, walking the streets of their town to kind of create that change, that very much needed change. And one of the reasons is because in the next 12 years, the emissions are going to be so severe that there is possibly going to have a catastrophic. I can't even say that word.
Catastrophic.
That's the word. That's the word. Impact on the environment. You know what, Rozina? There was a reason why I have you on this show. That's the reason, folks. That is a reason. Any word with C, can't say it this morning. With 3 syllables, it's just not going to happen. I can say cat.
That'll do.
Yeah, it's like,
I'll do the rest.
Zunaira is sharing her experience this morning, which is absolutely tremendous. And you know what? I'm so delighted that she is on the show. It is half term, folks, and hopefully Zunaira might give us a few tips on what to do to upcycle, recycle, make our environment a little bit more, sustainable, as well as getting young people involved with some of the stuff you do for Action for Conservation. I said the word
so
right.
You did it.
Yeah.
Well done.
Zunaira, so Action for Conservation. Tell us more.
So we are a really exciting young charity that works across the UK with young people from the ages of 12 to 18. And what we do is actually work really closely with young people, discussing environmental issues in a way that's relatable to them, because often the language around climate change and environment and conservation can be quite maybe polarized into some community groups, or maybe not as relevant. So we explore sort of conservation through their values, and like Leo creating this amazing rap. we work with young people like him across the country who are using rap music and social media and, creating animations and gaming to kind of raise awareness about these issues and take action in their own way. It's really exciting. It's like a new era of change that's being created and led by young people. That's why this strike is it's really exciting, because it's led by them and it's them deciding, this is the way we want to take action.
Yeah. And how do they want to take action, though, Zunaira? What is it that they're demanding? Because, placards, they've got the messages on there, but is anybody going to take notice of them?
I hope so. I think they have so far. There's been lots of positivity surrounding the strike, and hopefully the momentum continues. There is another planned strike on 15th of March, and this is more like a global youth-led strike, which is really exciting, because it shows that young people aren't going to just stop at one action that they've done. They actually are serious about creating change. And what's really interesting is actually, we work in schools, and a lot of young people are motivated to do stuff. And it's just about finding those tools. And there's been a huge sort of focus on, systemic change, which I saw a lot at the strike. So they are calling for change in the system, which is really interesting. It's really exciting to see that young people are taking these issues on the next level, and realizing how important the system.
Wow. Rozina, listening to Zunaira, who's given us first-hand experience of being at this strike. I mean, as a woman who is a professional, who's been in, working in the legal profession for over 20 years and now mentoring young people, listening to that, how does it make you feel?
Well, it's excellent work. We as a community can be quite dismissive in relation to sort of environment issues. And to be quite honest with you, I was totally unaware of this whole protest. And unfortunately, if we'd have known, if it was made maybe more public,
right?
Maybe, the schools might have been more willing to participate.
Of course. So why do you think that was the case, Zunaira? Some schools knew about it, others didn't. And I just want to point out that Rozina is a mentor for young girls at Denbigh School. And is that the school that you went to as well, Zunaira?
Yeah, I actually went to Denbigh High School, which is really exciting. Yeah, I'm a Denbigh gal.
She's a Denbigh girl. We need her in to the mentoring.
You need to come in. Definitely, we need some basically inspirational guests will come and speak to my students, and just to give them basically, guidance as to pushing through their own opinion doesn't hold them back, giving them that ability to do that. And it's totally aspirational, led. That is definitely, we need to get you in, and we need to get you to do some work with our students as well, definitely.
And what's really significant about Zunaira, she never went to university.
No.
But she is making a change in the space that she has, and she's really inspiring that change, and I find that very, very motivating and inspiring. And as a young Muslim girl from a local course, school, and it's so unique in an area for environmental change. Did you hear that, Zunaira?
Yeah.
You can hug me later, love. So, Zunaira, what is it that's kind of motivated you in this era? Because, as Islam and the environment do go hand in hand, and you're somebody that's kind of paved that way tremendously in your work with, Islamic Relief, and going to a lot of conferences internationally to kind of draw attention to environmental issues and being a Muslim.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always been faith-inspired. The action of doing something to better your community, and I just see it as one of those responsibilities, that this is our earth, and in Islam we have constant warnings, not to disrupt the natural balance, and to be stewards on the earth. Inspirations like that is something that really sort of drives me forward. And actually using that kind of approach with young people that we work with, what is it, what are your values, and how do you want to approach these issues actually is really helps to kind of make it more relatable to them, because it is their future. And, you know, we found that working with young people in a way that they feel that they can do something about some of the big issues has been really rewarding, and has allowed them to realise, well, actually we can make change. And it's just kind of getting that right, you know, not telling them what to do, but inspiring them to do something that they are passionate about because of their set of values. Has been, I think that's been great. And we'd love to come into Denbigh High School and work with young people there.
Yeah. That's what it's all about. You've got another 2 people coming on your
I'm rounding them up.
That's awesome. Zunaira, Action for Conservation. You got it right. Good. How can people get in touch? And I understand there were some student camp events that you were organising or sort of reaching out to young people.
Yes, so you can search us on actionforconservation.org. We work with schools across the country. So, you know, if you are a teacher at a state school and would like for us to come in to deliver workshops to inspire sort of student-led projects, then feel free to get into contact. And we would absolutely love to work with young people, especially from, you know, like you mentioned, like communities that might not have heard this kind of action taking place, or are not usually involved in this kind of work. That's something that we really are keen to change. So feel free to search us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'll just plug it all in.
Yep.
We're growing, so it's an exciting time.
Fantastic. Zunaira, thank you so very much for joining me this morning. I do understand you're at work, and it's an absolute pleasure having you join the show and keeping us updated with all the climate news around the country.
Yes, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for having me on again.
Always. Take care, my dear. Have a wonderful day. That was Zunaira Malik talking to us about her experience as part of the student-led youth strike for climate, which she participated in Bristol, which had over 10,000 young people from primary school age, marching in demonstration and in solidarity in making politicians listen to what they had to say in regards to climate change. Now, we are heading off to a break, and after the break, I'm still joined by the very fabulous Rozina, and we're going to be finding out about a story which has had Indian couples inviting people online to attend their wedding. Just random guess. Come and have the experience.
Assalamu alaikum, this is Atif Nawaz and you're listening to an Inspire FM podcast.
Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
Good morning, and assalamu alaikum. It is 11 o'clock, Monday, 18th of February, and you're listening to me, Shemiza, taking you all the way up to 12 o'clock on the final half an hour of the Urban Kube show, brought to you on Inspire FM. We're going out to the lovely people around Luton, surrounding areas, and Peterborough and Sheffield this morning on the sister stations taking the show. It is half term. Yes, it is, people. If you hadn't worked that out, the streets are quiet in the morning. It's so awesome to drive. It is absolutely fantastic getting to work and not having to be stuck in traffic. And then you have roadworks. Oh, my goodness. It took me a good 20 minutes to get down Dallow Road to get to the studio this morning. But I'm here and I'm not alone. We have had the first hour, which went by super quickly. A really inspiring first hour, which was motivated and led by young people taking the lead in issues that matter to them, from social issues, environmental issues, and issues such as knife crime, which is really greatly impacting not just young people, but just everyone. An event today to kind of highlight and raise awareness of the this horrendous, I'm going to call it an epidemic, across not just our town, but across the country as well, of knife crime. It's an event which is open to all. If you haven't got an Eventbrite ticket, you actually, Halima, the lady behind this event, did say you can actually drop by. You've got artists such as Farah Subhan showcasing a commission piece, really, on knife crime. She's an Islamic pop artist. Tremendous. I've seen the piece. It's phenomenal. We've also got Leo, who Samuda is known as Leo Young Lion. He's a young lad from a local school, 15 years of age, and he is performing a rap called Blade. We've had the pleasure of him performing live on the show today, which gave me goosebumps. It was so well versed, a very, very poignant articulation of the impact knife crime is having on young people, and those words were so powerful. So that's somebody that I think you need to keep your ear out for. He's a local lad, Leo Samuda, a local rap artist, and he kind of talked about how, you know, there is obviously rap has a kind of a negative connotation, reputation about, however, there is good rap and there's bad rap. And it's words. It's how you manipulate those words. And he's using them for the betterment of for society, mashallah. And then we had like Zunaira talking to us about a climate change event, a strike, a student-led youth strike that she participated in. In the studio with me, I have the absolute pleasure of having no other than Rozina Butt. Rozina, mashallah, joined me around 4 years ago. Goodness me. She brought in a tray of food. I still haven't returned the tray back to her. I had it on the side. I'm like, Rozina, I need to give you this tray back, but when mum's on the run, unfortunately, balancing so many different trays. Do you like how I did that? Not plates, but trays. And your tray is full. Rozina is a matrimonial lawyer, partner in her own firm, mother of 5 children, presently working in Denbigh High School in support for learning and mentoring young Pakistani and Bengali girls in high schools, guiding them with career choices. Assalamu alaikum, Rozina.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you so very much for staying with me. I hope we haven't bored you.
Nope. It's been amazing. Just the young generation today, I've just reconfirmed my sort of positivity about children now. Well, when I say children, but young adults nowadays. And it's actually reassuring that these people are taking such a big step in our environment, in society, such big subjects, and they're taking them on. And that can be only positive, and hopefully you'll have an influence on other people
inshallah
to do the same, inshallah.
And it's with confidence and articulation as well, and it's sort of enabling them to have that platform. Now, Leo is a young lad, only 15 years of age, but mashallah, he's been given that platform at this very big event happening at Luton Sixth Form. And Zunaira, another very remarkable young lady, and Zunaira said something quite interesting. She's, which I picked up and I knew of, and then I mentioned it to you, the fact that she didn't go to university, but she's still doing tremendously well without going through what we assume as being the best path for a pathway to a career of your choice. And she found it through just randomly her passion for the environment, and she followed her heart, and she also attended Luton Sixth Form College. Somebody who's a professional yourself and mentoring young people, you must come across a lot of students who may not want to go to university or are too young to understand what they want in life. And how do you inspire them and motivate them?
To be honest with you, Shemiza, I'm working mainly with year 8 girls, so they're year 12, 11 and 12. And to be honest with you, they are very young, but I think if you sow the seed of inspiration in them and inspire them.
Right.
As a mother of 5, I've got a son in year 8 as well.
Right.
It actually makes you feel like you need to prepare them for what's coming ahead. Because when they get into the education system, it's all about getting their GCSEs, and obviously that is the most important thing for them. But they've got to look at above and beyond.
Right.
So whether they go to Sixth Form College, whether they go to do an apprenticeship, they've got to be well-grounded human beings as well.
Interesting.
And they've got to understand that education is everything. And we as parents, we always encourage our children to go to university because we know that once you've got an education, nobody can take that away from you.
Right.
And that's what both my parents instilled in us 6 as children. In my siblings, I'm the youngest of 6. And they would say, you know, just get your education because you have so many opportunities in this country that you should take. Because obviously if you come from South Asia, in Pakistan, and you don't have that opportunity there. And our parents did so much when they came here to settle us in, that not taking that opportunity would be just such a waste. And that's
But there are some people who don't take that opportunity.
they don't take that opportunity still. And whether you do go to university or not, I don't think that should be your goal. What your goal should be is you should be a well-grounded, rounded person as well. So understanding education, but understanding community and understand how you can put back into that community.
So where do you learn these skill sets from, though? Because, you know, it's so easy for us to say because we're at the end of that journey.
We're on the end, yeah.
You know, and we can instill this in our children. And as you said, there's 11 kids we have all together.
We have a little army.
And we can share that.
Yeah.
Because, but what do you say to somebody?
We're lucky because we've always had that opportunity and we've got our education. And so we can, you know, we can take a little bit of the high ground and say, no, education is everything. But not every family comes from an environment where you have a role model. And I think it is all about role models and getting guests to come in to speak to those children, to inspire them, and local people to come in, homegrown products. You know, like Zunaira, who used just obviously a Denbigh girl I've just found out now.
And how did you find that out? Because somebody contacted you.
Another TA, Maisha Ahmed, said, you know, is that Zunaira? And I went to school with her and I was like, oh my God, such a small world.
Yeah.
But it just shows that these people have got a voice, whether they went to university or not. She's found her voice and now she's pushing that voice forward. And, you know, she's so articulate. And if she can go and just change one child in any school, whether it's Denbigh or whether it's another school, just to have a positive effect on that child.
Yes.
You know, as a parent and I'm hoping to be a role model for these girls or boys, you just want to have an effect on them, a positive effect.
And show them a real person, somebody they can relate to, somebody who looks like them, who's from their town.
Who understands their background.
Yes.
And I was never a grade A student. I was always an average student. And sometimes you find in our community the top-end students always get a lot of, you know, backing. And the ones who have got special needs, certain children that I work with have certain needs. It's just the average, so-called average student does get left behind sometimes. And I think they need a little bit of a push.
Yeah.
And it's not an intentional thing. It's just the sheer fact that if they don't find their voice, they can just sort of go through life just sort of avoiding.
Plodding along. And I'm really glad you raised that point about the average student doesn't really get a look in. I do think there is a divide academically where the extremely bright ones or the ones that are not as able get that support, but the middle lot are always left to just get on with what
and
they
it's
need
up
to
to
get.
them.
It's not right.
It's up to them individually and their parents or their role models, if they've got aunties, uncles, you know, older siblings, to push them through. I only went to university because my elder brother was a barrister, and mashallah now he's a QC. You know, and he's a judge. So that inspired me when I was younger. He was at university. I think I want to do that. You know, I've got
but you were very lucky.
Extremely lucky,
mashallah, because not many families have that.
Yeah, he's the
academic
second
opportunity.
Muslim QC just outside of London. And that's
tremendous,
amazing.
But why do we not know about him in the press?
Yeah. Well, he has a lot of press up north,
but not down south.
No, because
we need to know that.
Yeah,
and what's your name of your brother?
It's Tahir Khan.
Tahir Khan.
Mashallah, Tahir is, you know, he's been my inspiration from day one.
So you called him Tahir, and then you went Tahir.
Tahir
What's
Khan.
all that about?
we usually call him Tahir. But yeah, he's, you know, mashallah, he's got 3 children, all of them doing well. And it really helps if you've got one person who can say, you know what, my dad owned a corner shop.
Okay.
You know, when he came to this country, he worked for BSM, he had an education behind him, but he did the traditional owning a corner shop. And then, you know, we used to live above the corner shop. You know, we were all brought up on our dads. And then he had a restaurant and then really found...
So he grafted from the beginning.
And then from the 70s, 1974, he had a really amazing business. And mashallah, he had retired by 40. And you can't, and you can't say that
at 40.
But, you know, he worked and slogged from 1959
Mashallah.
to about sort of 1980, 82. And alhamdulillah, you know, it paid off.
That is amazing. Because if we look at time now, I mean, we are working longer hours. You know, back in the day, it was like you could work 40 hours and then you'd have a comfortable pension. Yeah. But now we're having to work extensively beyond 40 hours. And we still don't know if we've got a pension.
And we don't know what's coming ahead. But, you know, we as a family, alhamdulillah, you know, we come from very sort of modest backgrounds, and you know it's worked for us,
mashallah. So what's the key thing then? Is it the fact that your father was quite open and committed to making sure that your children, even the daughters, because there was 7 of you,
6 of us,
mashallah.
I've got a sister who's a GP, myself obviously a lawyer, one of my sisters is a teacher, my brother's a chemist, and I've got a brother who's a QC, but we all followed suit because we knew if we wanted to do well in life, we needed our education. And it was the traditional, either you want to be a lawyer or a doctor.
Right.
And alhamdulillah, we did it, you know, and there was nobody forced us to do this. It's just that we thought, you know, if we do this, our lives will be better.
Mashallah.
And it was just constant. And we, you know, my mother was, bless her, she's been gone 9 years now, but she just installed a lot of faith behind us as well. You know, it was all about just being very grateful for what you have, and always appreciating what you have, and always providing for those who don't have anything. And I think we've all done well for ourselves. And, you know, we always have that connection with our families, our roots, you know, Pakistan. And
because you're very traditional in your outset as well.
Definitely,
You know, your lifestyle, you're very quite humble. And this is, you know, I'm going to, from what I know of you, Rozina, mashallah, very, very about your family, your world,
they're my priority.
Your in-laws, you know, you look after them as well. And you're constantly, I don't know how you manage this. What advice could you give to somebody? Because you have a lot. You do a lot.
To be honest with you, Shemiza, we've always been like that. Okay. You know, my family my mum was always a grafter. Okay. And I think I would say to my sisters, and I have 3, and I say if we were 10% of what mum was in her lifestyle, we would be happy. Okay. And having children who respect their community and their family and will do anything for their community, I think that's enough, because you just need 1 or 2 people in that community to push forward. I've taken a back step for about 14, 15 years because, you know,
bringing up the children.
And now I feel it's my time to give these girls my time, and boys as well. And I'm just a TA at a local school, but I'm hoping that my input will inspire them. And I've seen it. And I've only been working as a TA for about 17, 18 weeks.
Wow.
And it's made me more positive about what I'm doing now that I've done in the last 20 years as a solicitor, because I know I'm having, hopefully, inshallah, I'm having a good effect on these girls.
And what impact are you having on them? And what are you seeing that needs to be changed?
It's such a short period of time. I mean, like I've said, I've only been there 5 months. And when it comes to my colleagues, you know, we all work very closely with these girls and boys, and we try to just give them that element that you've got 3 years of education, 4 years of education ahead of you. What you need to do is leave this place with the best results you possibly can. And as you know, Denbigh is outstanding. But to be able to understand how important it is to be a valued member of the community as well. So when they go to sixth form college, whether they're doing an apprenticeship, whether they're doing A-levels, BTECs, it doesn't matter. But whatever you do, always remember about your family and the community that you serve.
Wow.
And you have to think about your community as a whole, because
and that gives them humility and more of a broader awareness. Could I then ask you, you know, you come from a generation, you know, we're similar in age, mashallah, and it was tough back in the day because a lot of our parents were just discovering their place in British society. So they were learning things about themselves, they were learning about, you know, being parents and just, you know, pathways of life. Now, this new generation that has been brought up and born in this country, I was born in this country, so were you.
Yeah.
But are you seeing a difference with the parenting skills? has it improved?
To be honest
Are we
with you,
seeing younger people with more aspirations? Is it refreshing?
sometimes you find people who are very, very driven.
Okay.
But then you find those who just think, it's all about social media. I just want to get rich quick.
Okay.
And that's so disheartening, because it is really disheartening when you see certain individuals who think, well, I'm just going to blog and I'm going to, just take the easy route out. There is no easy route.
So blogging is the aspiration that a lot of the young people
being,
have.
makeup artists. We both know. Moi. But we know a very successful Simon Kiran. Obviously, she's my cousin. And
I love Simon Kiran.
She's done so much.
Tremendous.
So much for health. She's worked since she was 16.
Wow.
And now she's coming up to 40. So she's worked a good 20 years.
And she's an international makeup artist.
She's now an international makeup artist. And I had her come in to as an aspiring, speaker, and they were like, oh, well, can we just not do this? Can we not just do a shortcut? I was like, no, you've been going to work for a good 25 years before you do clients like Shahid Kapoor and those sort of Bollywood actors.
Okay.
It doesn't come overnight.
Yes.
It comes with hard work.
And networking and good communication skills and integrity of work.
And actually doing a lot of voluntary work.
Right.
Because nowadays there's no such thing. And in our time, when I sound so old now, but when I was studying at Luton University, I worked at the law centre on a voluntary basis, just for the extra career, everything on your CV that counts.
Yeah.
There isn't that anymore. There's no voluntary work there. There's no community sort of cohesion. It's all about, will we get paid?
Oh, okay.
And that's what I find a little bit disheartening.
So should the schools take more responsibility in making sure that there are more engagement with wider communities to provide volunteer work experience? Because they used to have 2 weeks of work experience, but I think that's been cut out now.
We do have, in our school, we still have it, and it's the beginning at year 11, and it's a week. And in our day, it was 2 weeks. But I think it can get a little bit... the schools are all about basically getting good grades and hopefully not allowing their children to fall behind. And schools are under a lot of pressure to ensure that as well. But I think what we do need to do as parents are in half term, make sure our children can do things like go down to the Luton Food Bank. Those sort of community-led charities we need to do a lot more of.
So you've raised a wonderful point there. It is half term, folks. And if you are struggling to get your children active and out and about, well, maybe that's an area that you could kind of get them engaged with. The Luton Food Bank, who are always looking for support and volunteers. Now, half term is a time when a lot of families do struggle and struggle because children are off school, and that reliable meal, that hot meal that they get as with free school meals is not possible when they're off. So the food bank is their first port of call, and we have seen statistics suggesting, and there's great evidence that holiday times are when there's a real demand for an increase in food parcels. So please do, if you are wanting to give something in the form of sadaqah or charity, please do think about the Luton Food Bank. Do connect with them. We'll find out how you can do that. Maybe prep some voluntary work for your children, or get involved yourself. And also massive big congratulations to Inspire FM, because I think they handed over the cheque. I think it was over £10,000 for the Winter Warm campaign, and making sure no child or no person goes hungry across Luton. Now, I will be speaking to Salma Khan, who is the coordinator for fundraising and projects. She does so much. Another mother from Luton, another inspiring person that I think you could connect with, and she'll be talking about a new campaign that they're running to kind of support the food bank. Now, folks, if you're listening to the show, it is at the Urban Kube with me, Shemiza, taking you all the way to 12 o'clock. It is 11:21. We've had Leo Samuda, a local rapper, who's been talking to us about his views on the rise and increasing impact knife crime is having on the younger generation, and he's performing at the 22 Seconds of Murder event organised by Halima Ali at Luton's sixth form from 12 till 6 this today, actually. Also spoke to Zunaira Malik as she spoke to me about why she attended the student-led youth strike for climate in Bristol, where a large number of students walked out of school and called for politicians to declare a national climate emergency and to take action. She's a local eco-warrior. That's how I describe it. And she's also the programme coordinator for Action for Conservation. In the studio right now, I am joined by no other than Rozina Butt. She's a matrimonial lawyer for over 20 years. She's also a partner in her own firm. She's a mother of 5 children, mashallah, and she's presently working in Denbigh High School in support for learning. But most significant is the fact that she's mentoring young Pakistani and Bangladeshi girls in high school, guiding them with their career choices. Now, if you want to connect with any of the guests, please do get in touch with us on 07779 481822. You can WhatsApp us. We are on Facebook Live, and I understand, Rozina, you've been watched by your children because it's half term and they're
kids.
watching you. Who are we saying hello to?
Zuleka, Abdullah, Subhan, Hashim and Musa. So
Mashallah.
hopefully they will be ecstatic with the sheer fact that I mentioned them on the radio.
Can we wave to them?
Hey guys.
Hey, awesome. And you've got your colleagues listening in as well. So who are we giving a shout out
Maisha,
to?
hopefully Maisha Ahmed, and I think Rozina as well. I didn't really tell very many people. I just got here, but I know it's going to spread now. But
Wonderful.
yeah, Maisha went to school with Zunaira, and it's amazing how everybody knows everybody here, don't they?
Fantastic. It is. We're family across
we are.
Luton. We know everybody else. On today's show, we're also catching up with the trending news stories as well. And I always talk about national days, and it's actually National Random Act of Kindness Day. So we've also got National Almond Day and National Do a Grouch a Favour Day. There's so many, I can't keep up, Rozina. Do you know what? I just want to have a national just chill.
Just chill day.
I just want to go
National
to sleep.
No day.
No day. I want a national day that kids clean up the house day.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
But it's half term. It's not going to happen.
Your house is not going to be clean for another week.
Oh,
I can't see
mine
that
is like
happening.
life until they leave. When you're leaving,
And they're not
kids,
leaving.
Oh,
They're
my
not leaving.
God. No, I love them. What I wanted to ask you guys, if you're a parent at home because you've got half term with the children, do you have kind of like an endearing term to call your children? I call mine the blobs. And it makes people laugh. Why
blobs.
The blobs, because it's just like, that's what they are.
They are. I have now forgotten all their names. And just number them, because by the time I call, if I'm calling one of them and it's the wrong name, and they know who they are because they're there, and they're like, just to give up, Mum. And I was like, okay, that's fine. You know who you are, just get here.
What's it like when you're actually having to give their date of birth when you go in and fill out a form?
So I have 2 children who share the same month.
Yeah,
Actually,
I've got that as
11th
well.
and 13th of July.
Oh.
So I'm always getting them mixed up
Okay.
and sort of have to realise that I need to remember. I don't think my husband knows their date of births anymore. I think he's just given up. He's like, just let her do it. But it is really hard when you've got to fill in all these forms and you just sort of sit there thinking, how many years have I been married? And then I work my way back.
And mashallah, you've had a beautiful marriage, and you're, may that continue, may it always be blessed. But you work with your husband as well as your partner in the same firm. Like, how do you do that? When do you get time out?
I think it's just reassuring that he knows that I'm a family lawyer and he won't mess about with me. So
interesting. We'll be catching up with the secrets of the trade and a fabulous marriage life straight after the break, because I'm also going to be talking to Rozina about an interesting article that I read where Indian couples are actually inviting people to come and attend their wedding. They're giving tickets to people to attend their weddings in India. How crazy, but how awesome is that? I'm quite intrigued by that. And also going to be talking to her about, what else are we going to be talking about? British accents. Peppa Pig is being blamed by American parents for encouraging British accents.
From the heart of Bedfordshire in Luton, this is Inspire FM. Catch a creative vibe on the Urban Kube with Sister Shemiza.
Hello and good morning to you. It is 11:30 Monday, 18th of February, and I'm Shemiza taking you all the way up to 12 o'clock on the Urban Kube show, where we're having quirky conversations, catching up with the trending news stories and talking everything from art, creativity, motherhood, and anything else you'd like to add into the mix. It's all happening on the show this morning. I have had the great pleasure of having two tremendous guests over the phone this morning, Zunaira Malik and Leo Samuda. You can actually find out about what they were talking about on the repeat of the show, which is 8 p.m. this evening, plus the podcast. Yes, we are now rolling out podcasts on a quirky little blurb thingy, and I'm just getting super excited about that because it makes me seem so professional. We're so professional here. Still in conversation with the very fantastic Rozina Butt. She's in the studio now, and I hear that she's smashing it because she's getting lots of her lovely followers.
They're too kind.
Listening into the show. So, hello, love. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
We're still here.
I like how you go northern.
I know, because I am. Do you know what? I'm a northern lass. I love my northern roots. And, you give me that homely feeling.
Northern feeling.
Yeah, northern feeling. It's all good, but the weather's a little bit.
I know, rubbish. Actually, it was really lovely in Bradford.
Was it?
She stayed there a couple more days. It was so sunny and fresh.
Oh, lovely.
Just the air is just, oh my God.
Bit cleaner.
Yeah.
Around there. And you are a northern lass yourself. Bradfordian.
Yep.
And I'm going to do accent. That's like now. Yorkshire. I need to stop. I'm going to have complaints.
People will understand a word we're saying. Yeah.
She doesn't sound northern.
No.
But you see, Bradford, like Luton, gets slapped left, right and centre with so much negativity. But Bradford is super doing awesomely well as a hub of cultural creativity.
Definitely, yeah.
The Bradford Literature Festival
Amazing.
Really was phenomenal, won loads of awards, and there's so much more going on in that city. Now, as somebody from Bradford, when people say you're from Bradford, and when you hear about Bradford, how does it make you feel? Do you get a little bit sort of, a little bit defensive, or would you agree with some of the comments that are being made about the city being not just being a bit Emmy?
The problem about Emmy, when I came to Luton,
I used that word live on radio.
But the thing is, when you come to Luton, and I studied here in '94.
Right. Okay.
It was Luton University at the time. I could not believe how different it was to Bradford.
Okay.
It was just, I'm not going to say it was backwards or anything. It was just very different.
Okay.
And by the time I'd graduated in '97, and then I got married in '99. I moved back here in about 2003.
Right.
It has changed in the last 10 to 15 years, but it's because we forget it's a town and Bradford's a city. There's a massive difference.
And people seem to fail to recognise that. Why are you comparing the rest of the country when we're a town?
Tiny little town.
And it's a town, and it's done tremendously well for the town it is.
Yeah, it does.
Moving on.
But it's just that the negativity that we get, in my day when I was at university, there was something called the Bradford riots.
Right.
And the stick I got when I was at university, you're going back to Bradistan, and, there's so much going, it was so negative. But now, like you said, there's so many different parts of Bradford. Like there is in Luton, there's so many different parts to us. And Luton gets such a bad press.
Right.
And it's such a shame because we've got so many articulate, intelligent people here. Two of them we've heard from today.
Yes.
And there's so much more to Luton. And hence me giving up mainly my legal profession to work in a school with, the next generation, hopefully.
And to enlighten them of what there is here in the town.
To push them forward and say, this is available for you. You can do anything you actually want.
Right.
And I've had so many inspiring guests that have come to school, done a few talks, and, they're not the most, they're not the high-end, intelligent people. They're just the average student at school who did amazingly well because they had that belief in themselves.
Okay, now you said high-end intelligent people. That sounded so wrong. You're going to get sued, darling.
But, at the end of the day, just normal people from humble, normal people from their sort of society who've learned that, a little bit of hard work will pay off. And I think it's just small steps.
To the bigger
goal.
Thank you, because I didn't know what to put in there, but I'm so glad you're here. Folks, if you've just tuned in, it's 11:35 with me, Shemiza, and Rozina, my wonderful guest this morning, who is a matrimonial lawyer for over 20 years. She's a partner in her own firm with a hubby, who's also a radio presenter on Inspire.
Yep.
Yeah.
Probably won't be listening. He's in court at the moment, but yeah.
Bless. And you're a mother of 5 as well. She's a mother of 5. It is half term, guys. And it'd be wonderful to find out what you've got planned for your children. If there's any activities that are happening that you might want to share with us, that'd be awesome. Now, Rozina did mention something that you might possibly want to do, and that is actually Luton Food Bank. Take your children down there.
Definitely.
To a local food bank point, donate some food, and sort of educate them about that, just the art of giving. It is a National Random Acts of Kindness Day, so that kind of falls in quite nicely with that. We've also got National Almond Day. Now, National Almond Day, as a desi parent, I think works quite well, especially considering a lot of us are going to have to kind of top it up when it comes to our kids revising for their exams. Because Leo was talking about revision, he's got mocks coming up, his main exams coming up. He's a 15-year-old that was a guest on the show earlier on. And you have a 15-year-old that's going to lessons in half term.
He's at school at the moment, actually.
Revising
and
for
I've got
exams.
An 18-year-old doing her A-levels, mashallah. So it's a stressful year.
Yeah, as a parent with 2 very poignant, significant exam points in 2 different areas. You've got the GCSEs and you've got the A-levels. How do you manage their stress levels, your own stress levels, diet,
To be honest with you, I'm so lucky that my children don't show major signs of stress. And I know a lot of parents struggle because their children do. They're quite laid back and laissez-faire.
Is that because you're a laid back parent?
Well, I'm not really a laid-back parent. My husband's very laid-back, but he's the sort of person who would revise before a day before an exam and get...
That's very naughty.
Never
Shouldn't
do that, children, never.
No.
But he was the sort of person who would retain information.
Okay.
Whereas I'm the sort of person who has to write things down, visualise, talk to myself.
Good.
Sort of signs of madness, I know, but...
Madness, healthy madness.
Talking about, when we were studying law at the time, it was, all the cases that we had to remember, citations. But my kids, I'm very, very lucky that I don't know whether they are revising, but they're doing really well with it.
Do you know what? They're on Facebook Live right now. Tell them to get off.
Get working.
Or show, off.
Get
children
off.
Yeah. Off.
Stop pretending to...
But you're watching Mummy.
No, it is. I mean, I'm grateful. And I'm grateful for the schools who give so much more attention to these children, because not every school does that.
Because now I was really grateful that my son's school is doing intervention over the half-term holiday.
Boosters
Booster classes. But they're getting trickier. The exams are not as easy. They're not
straightforward anymore.
There's a lot of pressure there. So do you have any a change in diet? Like, it's National Almond Day, and they always say,
I feel like a really bad mum because I don't give my children badam, and I think I'm going to start doing it.
Because it's supposed to be good for brain.
Well, they say, don't they?
Tuna, salmon, blueberry. No?
I can lie and say to you my children are very, very good and have their salmon, but they don't like it.
Oh, do they not?
No.
Okay. It is quite an acquired taste.
I don't like it.
Do you know what? I like smoked salmon.
Oh, no, I wish I could, but I'm really bad like that. But just basically hydration and the amount of importance I don't think children realise. Right. Just hydrating themselves whilst they're working. So I'm always making sure that their bottles are topped up, making sure that they're coming up for air after 40 minutes, because I know they could just sit there and read something and not actually understand. It wouldn't go in because they sat there for hours and hours. And I don't think that's proactive.
Do you cut social media time? Do they have access to Android and all their
My
social
children
media?
didn't have phones until they were 16, my older two. There was no need for it. And I know they felt a little bit isolated because all their friends at 11 had phones.
Wow.
And now, they do have phones, but we have to limit their work time on it.
And how do you do that?
Well, we just make them put the phones off while they're studying.
And they listen?
And they have to.
Do you take the phone off them?
I don't, but I trust them enough. But then I do really random spot checks.
Okay.
So I'll just run into the room.
Okay. She's in the cupboard.
Yeah.
Pops
So I'll jump out.
Hi!
Yeah, I do that. And I sometimes do scare my children, and they do look at me like I'm crazy. But, you've got to ensure that they're not just sat on Facebook. And they don't have Facebook accounts or anything like that.
Wonderful.
But you've got to ensure that they're working. You've got to keep them on their toes.
Yeah, I mean, like I did say wonderful there, and it's, that's me being a bit of a, I don't know. You know what? If your children on Facebook, that's fine.
Yeah, but
that has
they
nothing
don't need
to do with me.
Yeah,
but
it's each to their own.
But young people don't use Facebook anymore.
No,
that's
for old people.
It's Snapchat.
Is it Snapchat?
Do you have a Snapchat?
I do, but I don't know how to use it.
You have?
I don't know how to use it.
Okay. Gosh, you're with
really
the times, aren't you?
I've got the app, and I can look at other people's stories.
Yeah,
but I would never know how to post my own.
And one story we're going to reflect on is the fact that there is a company that lets Indians sell their tickets to their wedding. How interesting!
I should have done that because I must have had 300 guests I didn't even know who were at my wedding. Because you know how Asian families. I mean, mine was a small wedding; it was 500. And I'm more than certain 300 of them, it was just random. Well, no, they weren't random, but they knew my parents very well.
Yeah.
But I didn't know them. But that was a small wedding in the day. I mean, 20 years coming up this October it is.
Mashallah.
If I get there. But half the guests at my wedding, I was just smiling and nodding because I didn't know who they were.
Did you smile at your wedding? Because
I did. But then I got in trouble for it.
You see, there is this thing about, brides being quite, what's the word? Quite coy and just like, head
shy.
Down and shy. And
I didn't do that. And the worst thing is it was on my video and it just haunted me for years afterwards. My mum was like, you shouldn't be talking. I was like, but my friends were there and I was
happy.
No. You should be talking. You're leaving us.
A very shy bride, and you're leaving us.
You know what? I'm like Shemiza. I'm not shy. I'm far from shy. I'm too northern to be shy.
Oh, bless you. And we're seeing a lot more brides who are smiling, enjoying their wedding. And
I think it was a taboo subject, wasn't it? You're smiling. You're leaving your family, parents, but you're leaving your family. It wasn't that. It was just the sheer fact that it was my day, and I had people who I really wanted to be there. People from university, people from school. My own family. And it was a really good wedding because our wedding was 4 weeks.
Right.
I had 2 mendis on 2 weekends and a wedding and a walima because my husband's from Luton and I was from Bradford. So we had to stagger every weekend. So my wedding went on for 4 weeks. So you can imagine.
Wow.
We were exhausted by the end of it, but we had such a lovely time.
Wonderful. That would have been a perfect wedding to sell tickets to.
Yeah. See, I could have sort of really spun that and made quite a lot of money.
Yeah. And this is what's happening.
Yeah.
So, I mean, are you somebody who's planning a wedding and would you sell tickets to your own wedding? I need to look into this article, but it would be quite interesting to know whether, what price those tickets are and who's actually turning up because it's a lot of foreigners who enjoy this, the big fat Indian wedding.
A lot of tourists are actually, and I was reading on the same article, the reason they're attending these weddings is because they get to meet local people, eat local food. And basically, food's always available. And another 2 people at a wedding in our Asian families, it doesn't really matter because you just sort of mingle with the thousands, don't you? Nobody can tell. You know how it is. Sometimes you just think there's a lot. My niece got married recently, and there was only 250 people at the wedding, and it was like, where is everybody?
I love that.
Where's the other 500?
What would you have thought of going to one wedding in Pakistan where there's only 35? Because the couple wanted to save the money and actually buy themselves a brand new car rather than wasting it on the extravagant expenditure, which would only, that half of them wouldn't even recall the day after, but they'd be paying for it still later on. And there seems to be a lot of research suggesting the more you spend, the impact it has on your marriage life because you're
stress.
It's the debt.
Yeah, stress.
The debt.
Thinking about one day, and I would quite happily, my daughter and me had candid conversations about going to a beach in Jamaica, just 10 of us and getting her married off. And we'd have to take the imam with us, obviously. And I was like, well, you have to have your nikah. And she was like, yeah, but I said, well, it'd be really awkward taking the imam with us, our family members. But, you just think you want something.
There might be an imam in Jamaica.
You never know.
You never know.
You have to hunt one out. But it's just the sheer fact that I think people are really getting. Everybody wants a Bollywood wedding.
Okay.
And that wedding costs a lot of money.
Of course.
And the wedding industry, as you know,
it's big, it's extensive,
massive.
It's multi-billion pound.
People are arriving in helicopters, and it's just ridiculous.
I saw a bride actually arrive in a cake.
No way.
Honestly. It was like, and it opened up, and she was like,
no way, that is the craziest thing I've heard.
And then one bride who was actually on top of this whirly thing, and she was just going round and round, and there was like fireworks.
Dizzy. Was she not dizzy by the end of it? In her lehenga.
So, they wanted their money's worth. They needed to show this was a 10 grand lehenga or whatever. Make sure everybody sees it.
No. I genuinely just, I mean, I'd love my daughter, my son, to have an amazing wedding, but I think you don't have to go to an extreme where you could just, it's wasting so much money.
Quite ostentatious.
It is. And actually quite un-Islamic.
Okay.
If you think about it, because in the times of the Prophet, there would only be 6 or 7 people
as long as there's a witness.
As a witness, and then the money would be given for them to be set up. And I think that's what you should do. And set your children up. And
I think people who do follow the Sunnah or Islamically, they are keeping it quite
definitely
small.
Keeping it real, keeping it
and those that want to
relevant.
It's fine if you want to have an extravagant wedding. Yeah. It's your day, it's your person, that's your special moment in your life, and if you've saved up for it. But I think managing the budget so that you're comfortable at the end of it. And the dresses are so exuberant. What did you wear on your wedding day? What colour did you wear?
I had a traditional red lehenga. But I've always wanted to get married in red. Okay. I don't know why. It was something that I really wanted to do. My sisters got married 2 of them got married in red. And one got married in pink. And that was beautiful because it was 35 years ago. But she looks so elegant. I've always wanted to go the whole traditional.
Did you do your own makeup? No, you got a makeup artist. Wow, you were really ahead of your time.
At the
Back
time,
in the day, everybody wore their own.
Yeah, everybody did their own. And it was amazing because it was just that year was the year where the Asian Wedding magazine was launched. Okay. So my shoes were from Southall. I had certain styles. I had on my wedding on my round tables, which is quite cool for the time.
What's a round table?
Asian weddings. So we usually have
square
tables, and you get them in and get them out.
Like if you hide the school out, there were the dinner tables. They put a bit of fancy paper on top,
and then you don't get candles or anything. I had like a bowl of water and candles and petals on the. I know it was really pretty, and my daughter was like, "Oh, Mum, did they do that thing at the time?" And I thought, no, because that was the first year. You'd have different things, and I was really. It was lovely because I did it the way I wanted it. My parents were really, mashallah, supportive. So I did lots of things for my wedding that I wanted to do, and I would probably do the same for my daughter, but within a budget. Yes. You've got to look at your budget.
Were you a bridezilla?
I wasn't.
You weren't?
No.
Just mellow? Just smiled a lot?
Just got in trouble for smiling and being happy.
On her wedding day, and alhamdulillah, 20 years on, you'll be celebrating your 20th
inshallah.
Wedding anniversary, and 5 mashallah children. You're working in partnership with your husband in the solicitors firm. I'm not even going to plug the firm.
No, don't bother.
No advertising here, darling.
It's just my surname.
Yeah, and the irony here is like you're actually a matrimonial lawyer. So what tips and advice could you give to any couples out there who, I know you're a lawyer, we're not talking about legal battles here, but it's generally
I'm not giving legal advice.
Balancing
to be honest with you, just to be transparent.
Okay.
Just to have transparency between you. There's a lot of pressures nowadays. A lot of like the wedding has to be a certain way. The way you have to look on your wedding day. You've just got to be a well-grounded person. If you're a grounded person and you both respect each other,
right?
It's just mutual respect and respecting each other's families, and just to be able to have sort of to be able to give each other that love and attention that you should be giving each other, just a little bit of attention, you know.
And that's really important, isn't it, to keep revive the relationship by having. Do you have like date nights? Do you go out on? No.
To be honest with you, now my daughter's at a stage. She's mashallah, she's 18. She's always saying, "Why don't you and Dad go out?" And she's so amazing because
let's give her a big shout out. Her name is
I love you.
Oh,
but she's she is my right hand man and woman. Sorry,
let's get it right.
But she's so I have 4 sons and a daughter.
Okay.
And Allah's blessed me that, my first was a daughter. And it's a really good relationship to have, as you know, there's only 2 of us in our house and the rest are all male, so quite a lot of hormones flying around. But as we ground each other really well, and she, mashallah, she's wanting to do law, and she's got a few unconditional offers, and she'll probably go into human rights, and she wants to be a barrister, so she wants to really push that, you know, field as well. So yeah, I'm just lucky. I'm just lucky to be blessed with a really good family. But you know, it is luck as well. It is luck. So
Zuleika, if you're listening, darling, mommy and daddy, like Wednesday evening,
we're going out.
They're going out. And I think that's really important, isn't it, for couples to just get away from the kids, get somebody to look after them, and just be what you were like when you first met, child-free, and
to be honest with you, it just takes so much effort sometimes just to be able to.
Because we prioritise children first, right?
Just yesterday, there was 10 of us, my 3 sisters, 4 nieces. We all went out for high tea. Just to organise that high tea took us 4 days to do. Because between us, we have children. Right. I'm the youngest out of the siblings, but my kids are the youngest ones. But just to organise, you know, and we only went out for literally 2 hours, but it was like a military operation. You're having the children at this time, at this place, because all of us ladies went out. Yes. And so all the dads and the granddads were all on standby.
Did the dads panic?
Yeah, of course they did. Of course they did. Have you got this? Have you got that? Have they been fed? Have they been to the bathroom? Have you got spare clothing? I said, well, I'm not leaving the country. I'm literally just going for a tea. So when we all got to the table, we just sort of sat there and just sighed very, very, you know, loudly, and just thought, you know, we did it.
Oh, wow.
And we managed to take pictures.
Oh, gosh, you did you? Wow.
Obviously of the food before we ate it, because that's what you have to do.
You have to do that.
That is a prerequisite nowadays, isn't it? You can't touch the food unless you've taken a picture, which I don't get at all. But yeah, we had, you know, you have to do that. You have to make some time for yourself.
Of course, super important to kind of balance the mindfulness. And, you know, I was talking about my, you know, good mental health. And mental health is an area that we've been exploring quite a lot across the shows, because it's something that's not going to go away. It's really impacts our communities at large. And, you know, it shouldn't be a taboo topic to discuss. But what's really quite interesting, a lot of schools are now injecting meditation and mindfulness in lessons. And do you think, as somebody who works in the education sector as a mentor, and who advises and guides students, do you think meditation and mindfulness is a good place to be
I think a lot of schools don't realise how important it is. And I know when Zuleika was at Denbigh 2 years ago, they'd introduced it then. Right. And it was well-being. And well-being is a massive thing in our school at the moment, mainly for the teachers, because it's a high stress profession. But it's for the children as well. You know, there's a government recommendation by 2025 that every school should have a qualified counsellor on site to deal with mental health issues. And we're very lucky. We have excellent learning mentors at our school, and they deal with so many. It's anxiety, a little bit of stress. You know, there's so much that they have to deal with. But we have a place where the kids can go and see somebody, and it's a massive thing. And I think that's probably another program for you. You know, that's another
definitely. And I think we're seeing that in sixth form as well. Yeah, more attention. I mean, money is being invested, and I think it's a good place. But do you think social media has played a massive part in this high level of anxiety that
definitely there's so much expectations of young adults now. They have to be a certain way. They have to, and they thrive on the fact that they haven't got any likes. You know, if they have likes, they've put up a picture and they love it. And if they don't have likes, then you can imagine the adverse effect on that child. Wow. And I sometimes really think it is such a downfall for our children, because they're just waiting for other people's approval.
Right.
So we've got to be really careful. And that's why I don't really push for social media when they're quite young, because I don't want them to be caught up in what other people think of them. They need to have that confidence to build their own.
But it's also, we talked about voluntary work as well. It's getting them out into society, away from that phone, and showing them that there is more out there. Yeah. And your worth isn't behind a screen. Your worth is out in the community. Yeah. And engagement, communicating, and learning those social skills as well. Because they're not able to read faces as clearly.
No.
And pick up on, emotive language.
That's it. And
apart from emojis.
No. Yeah, and some of the emojis I don't even understand. Like there's a different face and a squiggle, and I think, well, what does that mean? I don't know if to send that emoji or if I'm offending
Come on,
somebody.
with it, Mom.
No, I wish I could. I wish I could.
Well. It is human random acts of kindness day. Is there anything that you'd like to say to our listeners this morning?
Genuinely, just to check on your neighbour.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't do that enough. I've got elderly neighbours, and I sometimes do feel that I forget to just knock on the door and say hi. Right. We're next door. Just looking across at who looks upset. Has anybody been out of their front door?
Right.
You just got to check on your neighbours because that is your first port of call.
And do you have anything planned for half term?
Not really. Just wanting to catch up on tidying up and.
Oh God! I knew you were going to say that.
Could you do that as a parent?
I could see that on your face when your eyebrows just twisted.
My windows need cleaning.
No, we're heading off to the end of the show. Thank you so very much, Rozina, for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for everybody listening in. Have a happy, wonderful half term and catch the repeat 8 p.m. Join me next week, same time. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Why not tune in to our live stream at inspirefm.org and follow and subscribe to our social media platforms at Inspire FM Luton.